Coming up tonight on the news at 5, COVID-19 vaccines arrive at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Plus,
a little special attention this year. We're doing things differently.
What goes into preparing for a legislative session that is guaranteed to be like no other before?
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 5.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the News at 5. I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us. Well, Montana crosses a grim milestone on this final day of 2020. As of this afternoon, more than 1,000 Montanans have died as a result of COVID-19. Additional deaths were reported today in 6 Montana counties, including Cascade. The number of active cases continues to hover around between 5,000 and 6,000, and active hospitalizations continue to fall and are currently right around 200. Now, MTN uses a combination of state and local data to provide you with the most up-to-date numbers regarding the COVID-19 situation in our state. And because of that, our numbers may differ from the state. Well, after an unimaginable year, most people are looking forward to saying goodbye to 2020, and the final hours of 2020 give no relief to healthcare workers in places like Southern California, where they face a new strain of the virus that has already caused so much tragedy. At the same time, overworked state and local health departments are continuing to administer the first COVID-19 vaccines to jumpstart the end of the pandemic. But the threat of the virus still looming in many places means muted celebrations on what is typically the biggest party night of the year.
You're going to see less people in Times Square, but we're going to be filled with more hope than ever. They reflect those families watching at home, all those families in communities and cities, towns around our nation and across the world who have been sacrificing for their communities.
Well, in Great Falls, COVID-19 vaccinations are underway at Malmstrom Air Force Base. The base released these pictures today of the vaccine arriving and airmen receiving their first doses. A dozen medical personnel were vaccinated today. Medical workers and first responders on base are receiving the vaccine first, and any remaining doses will then be offered to what the base considers mission essential personnel. All right, we've got Andy Curtis here in the Weather Center with a look at your weather on the last day of 2020.
Yeah, see you later, 2020. But we're leaving 2020. We're starting 2021, rather, very much like we're leaving 2020. Very mild conditions, not a lot going on out there. A few scattered snow showers just up in the mountains on the west side of the state. And fairly windy, very noticeable wind out there across Montana tonight. Taking a look, Rogers Pass, not looking too bad, but of course this camera doesn't show everything, so give yourself plenty of time if you're heading up over Rogers Pass tonight. And McDonald Pass looking a lot clearer compared to last night when we had some snow and of course that wind roll through, but still it could be slick, and with those temperatures dropping at that high altitude, give yourself plenty of time and be careful if you're heading over Mac Pass tonight. And taking a look at some of the headlines, saying goodbye to 2020. But hello to some wind. That's going to be sticking around as we start 2021. And we might even get a little rain and snow with some warmer temperatures this week, and I'll tell you about that in the full forecast.
All right, thanks, Andy. 4 area communities are getting more than $1 million in community development block grants from the state. The Montana Department of Commerce announced $5.2 million in grants for 12 communities across the state, and among those 12 are Shelby, Hill County, Lewis and Clark County, and Pend Oreille County. Shelby is getting $450,000 for water system upgrades. Hill County is getting $260,500 for water system upgrades. Lewis and Clark County is getting $450,000 to upgrade the roof and improve energy efficiency at the Good Samaritan thrift store. And Pend Oreille County is getting $450,000 for heating, air conditioning, and lighting upgrades at Pend Oreille County Medical Center.
This community development block grant that we got, $450,000 is going to go a long way with some other things we're hoping to get. Just getting upgraded heating system to get away from the steam boilers we have now. It's just going to be a blessing.
Well, no date yet for when the work to replace the HVAC system and light fixtures will start, but the work will likely take a couple of months. And some changes are coming to the Cascade County Detention Center. The current warden, who worked at the Cascade County Sheriff's Office for 23 years, announced his retirement this week. John Nolan, resident deputy for the Sun River Valley, will serve as the interim warden. Now, this comes after Cascade County commissioners decided to absorb the county constable position into the sheriff's office, creating an opening for another deputy. And at a meeting earlier this week, commissioners also approved a memorandum of agreement between the sheriff's office and Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, which allows some detention officers to act as immigration officers in certain situations.
In the past, if there was an immigrant who was arrested and put into our jail, an ICE agent out of, I think it's Helena or Billings, and sometimes in Missoula, would have to travel up. There's a very short period of time in which they had to serve that warrant. And if that warrant wasn't served, the person had to be released. So all this is they train our detention officers on how to serve those warrants and then basically make them, give them the authority to do so.
Slaughter also said they are preparing for the jail to get COVID-19 vaccines, but officials are still working out the timeline. Well, after a very unpredictable year, Carroll College officials say they are proud of how 2020 turned out. The school's president spoke with us about 2020 and what's ahead in 2021. MTN's Alexia Guayo reports.
Carroll College had a rather unique school year in 2020.
We moved 100% of our spring courses to remote delivery in less than 3 weeks.
Then in the fall, Carroll College established a bubble for its students so in-person classes can resume. The result is one of their biggest accomplishments in 2020.
Carroll was one of 27% of colleges and universities in America that were able to remain in person without a single day of remote delivery. We were proud of that.
Carroll College hopes to continue their positive momentum into the spring 2021 semester with another bubble for students and the Realign, Reinvest, and Reimagine Our Future plan. This plan includes a balanced budget for 2021 and a commitment for Carroll College to continue its growth in providing programs related to helping others. In the fall, 75% of students enrolled into the so-called helping fields, such as nursing and psychology. Dr. Seck looks to a bright 2021 school year.
As our population members receive the vaccine and we return to what the new normal is, I think the world is going to emerge from this much stronger.
Carroll College is already bouncing back stronger. Their amount of paid deposits for the fall 2021 semester doubled compared to 2019. In Helena, I'm Alexia Guayo, MTN News.
Well, here's a pretty cool stat for you. More than 500 registered nurses in Montana are Carroll College grads. And the college hopes to continue training students in the field with 2 new programs in 2021. And the FDA is warning pet owners to check the food they give to their cat or dog. 3 brands of sport mix products for cats and dogs were recalled. The food is made by Midwestern Pet Foods and was sold online and at stores nationwide. The FDA says there is a risk of potentially deadly levels of alpha toxin. The toxin is produced by mold that can grow on grains used in pet food. So far, the FDA reports 28 dogs died from the recalled food. 8 others got sick. The FDA says anyone with the recalled product should contact the company. And when we come back, Andy Curtis will have a full check of your forecast and storm tracker weather. And later, the 2021 legislative session is days away. Jonathan Ambarian will tell us what to expect from a session that is guaranteed to be like no other.
Welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year. And yeah, it's me, Andy Curtis, filling in for Curtis Grevenitz for the last time in 2020. That I'm pretty certain of. I'm also pretty sure about this. 39 degrees up in Great Falls right now. So not a real bad way to end the year around the Electric City. It doesn't feel too bad. It feels around 30 miles per hour, but let's check that wind. The wind is still gusting and blowing pretty good, pretty noticeable, 18 miles per hour, gusts of 26. That's not going to change with 2021, especially around Great Falls. Down in Helena, 39 degrees, and feels like 39 degrees. that trend that's been going on all week, the capital city being a lot calmer than up around Great Falls, that's going to continue into the new year. So if you need a break from the wind up in Great Falls, head on down south. Now here's what we're looking at, as we start our Friday. That wind carrying over tonight, areas where it is windy will continue to be windy up along the Rocky Mountain front. I'm talking about Great Falls, even creeping up in the Havre and Lewistown a little bit, around up there, Billings, seeing some wind, or feeling some wind rather. That'll start to dissipate though as we get farther into the afternoon, and Friday around 4:30 you can still see still going strong around Great Falls and around the Rocky Mountain front, but in the areas in between, the wind will lighten up rather just a little bit. So a little bit of a break until Friday night, and then we'll all be seeing some wind. The whole state will be besieged by wind for this first weekend of 2021. And hold on to your hats, because it's going to be pretty strong in some areas. At 12 o'clock on Saturday, 40+ mile-per-hour winds will be expected in north central Montana, not just along the Rocky Mountain front. So be ready for that. The weekend will be warm, but it will be very, very windy. Taking a look around the state temperature-wise, Lewistown 35, Havre 35 as well, 33 in Cut Bank, and 35, 34 out west in Missoula. So not a big difference statewide. Temperatures are pretty similar, high 30s, low 40s, 41 there in Billings. And that will be really the temperature we see over the next couple of days. So very mild start to our January and New Year, but don't forget about that wind. It will be hard to ignore. Taking a look at the radar, and just a little bit of snow up and out to the west, but again, sticking up to the mountains. It's really not going to bother us down here. The next precipitation that we see in the Helena area might be Sunday, and I know earlier this week I was saying that there's a slight chance of some snow. Well, now with these temperatures we're going to be seeing, it's a better chance of seeing some rain on Sunday. So Great Falls, 46 tomorrow for the high, 47 on Saturday, again, 46 mile-per-hour gusts. It's going to be another windy one. 47 on Sunday, both days though, pretty sunny. Temperatures though warm, 50 degrees on Sunday before we drop back down to earth, 31 degrees. A more seasonable high on Monday to start the work week. And in Helena, a little bit cooler, but still in the 40s, plenty of sunshine and windy. And then Sunday into Monday, it'll be warm, windy, and that's a good chance of some rain-snow mixture, but more on the rain side, looking at that temperature.
Thanks, Andy. The start of the 2021 state legislative session is just days away, and staff are working to get the state capitol ready for lawmakers and the public. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on what will be different during this session shaped by COVID-19.
The week before the start of a Montana legislative session is always a busy time, and this year, with the precautions due to COVID-19, there's more work than ever to prepare.
A little special attention this year. We're doing things differently.
Capitol staff has been going through each committee room, cleaning and sanitizing them, and reorganizing the seating so lawmakers will be distanced.
Usually there's around 22 to 24 committee members, 2 staffers, and a clerk. And so that would be about 27 people. And now that we're trying to do social distancing, we have about 18 to 20 max in the room.
This week, the Legislative Services Division announced they had reached an agreement with leadership to have some committee staff work remotely for the first 2 weeks of the session. The committee rooms and the House chamber are being outfitted with TVs, so lawmakers who choose not to be at the Capitol in person can join over Zoom. Rooms will be cleaned after each committee meeting and disinfected overnight. Microphones will have disposable covers, changed every time someone new uses them.
We were estimating 26,000.
Ordinarily, most committee rooms would have several dozen seats for the public to testify. With the added distancing, most of those won't be available. Leaders say they may have to stagger who's allowed in. They're also working on ways to have people testify in writing or over Zoom if they register ahead.
So that the public has as many ways to participate, more than they've ever had before. But they get to do it based on their own healthcare decisions on how they want to participate.
But some lawmakers remain concerned not everyone will have equal access.
There are people that, for a variety of reasons, will not be able to enter that building if it's not a safe place. And that is a problem for the democratic process.
Staff says the current setup in the Capitol is only a baseline, and in the first few days of the session, leadership and committee chairs will have a say in how to modify it going forward. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
As 2020 ends, Congress is continuing a fierce debate about COVID-19 relief checks and overturning a presidential veto. Stimulus checks will likely not rise to the $2,000, despite support from President Donald Trump and many Republicans and Democrats alike, after Senate Majority leadership effectively killed the effort to up the payments, arguing it's not needed. Although, as the year closes, nearly 800,000 more Americans filed for unemployment benefits.
Socialism for rich people is a terrible way to help the American families that are actually struggling.
So all that I am asking Senator McConnell is give us a vote. What is the problem? You could vote no.
Another issue before lawmakers, whether to override the president's veto of the military defense bill. That vote is likely this weekend. And coming up next on the News at 5, many people want to leave 2020 behind, but some of the lessons learned this year will carry into 2021.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back to the News at 5. It has been 10 months since COVID-19 shutdowns began, and from gyms to yoga studios, small business owners needed to adapt quickly to keep their clients. MTN's Phoenix O'Connor explains how the lessons learned in 2020 will continue into 2021.
Really proud about our Zoom game now.
Nikki Twitchell is the owner of Hot Yoga in Helena. She is one of the many Montana small business owners that have had to adapt to the pandemic, such as boosting their technology skills to create a feeling of still being in the studio, but at home.
The kind of studio where your teachers are looking at you and offering modifications, amplifications to your practice. We say your name. We want you to feel like you are getting the value of having a private teacher in a group setting.
And the teachers are not necessarily in Montana.
We've got Michael teaching from the Bahamas, a world-class Iyengar mat teacher. We've got Leslie teaching from New York City.
Students can be in Townsend, Boulder, Lincoln, or wherever and still get the same experience of being in the studio. Twitchell also says for students making the switch to be successful, make a space at home that's just for your workouts.
To get more motivated from home, it's really beneficial to have a dedicated space for your yoga, to have a mat that you feel special about, you know, get a really nice mat.
And for students that want to keep that distance and not be at home or in class, there is a private room at the annex for students to go into, where they will still have the benefit of the infrared light, which Twitchell says has health benefits. Having good hygiene and hand sanitizer, keeping a distance, and wearing a mask will most likely roll over too.
We are 10 feet apart. We wear our masks until class starts. And sometimes people wear their masks for class. I've worn my mask for a 90-minute class just to test it out. It's actually okay.
It seems most gyms and yoga studios have upped their game with virtual classes and will continue in the new year.
So you can get your Namaste on for 2021.
Reporting in Helena, Phoenix O'Connor, MTN News.
Well, people plan to continue working out from a safe social distance in the new year. The American College of Sports Medicine released its list of popular workout trends for 2021 based on a survey of more than 75,000 people. The most popular trend is expected to be online training, which allows people to follow a workout from their smartphone or computer. Number 2 is wearable devices, and number 3 is body weight training. Group fitness fell from number 3 to number 17 as trainers say people are hesitant to be in groups during the pandemic. And up next, a cute story to close out this last 5 p.m. newscast of 2020.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching MTN News at 5.
Welcome back to the News at 5. 2021 is not the only thing the Louisville Zoo is celebrating. They welcomed a new baby seal pup. It is the first seal pup born to the zoo's 6-year-old gray seal, Rona. Zoo officials say the red light you see in this video helps create a soothing atmosphere while allowing staff to keep an eye on them in the dark. Now, they're monitoring the mother and pup very closely, but giving them enough room to bond without distraction. The pair will be off exhibit for several weeks as the bonding process continues. Now, they will find out the pup's gender soon, and the zoo will also be holding a naming contest.
Taking a last quick look at the 7-day forecast for the Helena area. New Year's Day tomorrow, 37 degrees. Expect some wind, though, to be blowing through the area. Then 39 on Saturday and 42 on Sunday, so a warm but windy weekend.
All right, thanks for making us a part of your evening. NBC Nightly News is up next.